The cherry on top of character design is, without a doubt, the hair. It defines the character's appearance and tells us a lot about their personality. If you watch anime, I'm sure you can think of at least one show where the hair alone made a character iconic. Or another one where you can only tell characters apart solely based on their hair. So when it comes to manga or anime, how to draw hair? Personally, I follow 4 simple steps to draw and color any type of hairstyle. And I really mean any. In this video, I'll break it down into 2 main sections: drawing and coloring. Let's start with the drawing part. To draw hair, I use 4 key elements: landmarks, volume, shape, and gesture. To explain each of these, I will draw multiple hairstyles on the same character, showing you how to apply each step every time. I will start with a basic ponytail. A quick pause before we even start. We are building the hair on top of the head. So if the anatomy of the head have issues, it will affect the result. So check your head first. Landmarks are points or lines you'll define in order to know where to start your hair from. For this ponytail, I will define a hairline landmark placed here to balance the face, a ponytail anchor showing where the hair is pulled to and from, and bangs landmarks to decide where they should end if I decide to include them. Volume is the extra space around the skull. It defines how flat or puffy the hair looks. Shape isn't always essential, but it helps sketch out the final look. It is especially useful for structured hairstyles like buns. Finally, the gesture, also called flow or motion. It's not the contour nor the shapes, but the movement that ties everything together. It's not about outlines or individual strands, but how the hair moves. In this ponytail example, the gesture includes the flow from the hairline to the ponytail, from the ponytail to the shoulders, and the motion of the bangs. In my opinion, gesture is what makes the drawing feel natural and balanced, especially when the character is in motion, or elements like wind or a hand are interacting with the hair. The gesture notion actually applies to everything drawing-wise, and not just the hair. Now that we have a basic ponytail, let's see how changing a few elements can completely transform it. If I thicken the shape and tweak the gesture of the bangs and curls, the style feels completely different. Now, if I move the ponytail landmark and add braids with pointy bangs, we end up with a totally new look. To show how important shape is, let's draw a fancy bun. I will use the same 4 steps: landmarks, volume, shape, and gesture. Here, defining the shape makes it much easier to draw the bun. since I've already decided how big and where it should be. I also added a flower accessory using a preset brush in Clip Studio Paint. As I mentioned earlier, the volume you choose will really affect the final result. Here I drew the same hairstyle 3 times. One with flat volume, one with normal volume, and one with a more exaggerated, voluminous style. Each one works, of course, but the feel is very different, so choose what fits your design best. By following these 4 steps, you can create hairstyles that are as simple or as wild as you want. There are truly no limits when it comes to drawing manga hair. At this point, you may ask, I followed the steps, but my drawing feels very generic. Why is that? And my answer would be, use references. Don't be afraid to look at photos, screenshots, and other artists' work. Studying and gathering reference is the foundation of both learning and creating. So take advantage of all the inspiration out there. Now that you've got your drawing, there are 4 simple steps to color it. Honestly, this part is much easier than the drawing. Just a heads up, I'll be demonstrating the cell shading technique. It's the classic anime coloring method and the simplest one I know. Before we begin, make sure you're working with separate layers for each step. Also, clip all your shading and light layers to the base color layer. I will be using 3 preset brushes in Clip Studio Paint: the G-Paint, the Blend, and the Blur brushes. Step 1. Choose a base color and fill the hair. Avoid using a color that's too bright or saturated. You will need those tones later for shading and lighting. Step 2. First, shading. Pick a slightly darker color with a subtle shift in hue and saturation. Apply it to the edges, the top, and the middle section of the hair. I like to blur the edges so it blends nicely into the base color. And if you're unsure about your color choices, remember, Ctrl+U is your best friend. You can adjust everything at any time. Step 3. Main shading. This step is all about placement. To do it right, you need a sense of your light source and the mood you're going for. So use a reference, always. Here I'm keeping the shading pretty general, nothing too technical. Again, I picked a darker color with a slight hue shift, blur some parts and left others sharp for contrast. Step 4. Lighting. I like to work with 2 light layers, one for colored light and one for white light. Set the colored light layer to glow dark. Then choose a lighter version of your base color. This blending mode reacts beautifully with the base and gives a soft glowing edge with every stroke. Use the same 3 brushes to apply the light. And now for the white light, create a new layer above the line art, but don't clip it. Use it for those final white strokes and highlights. And that's it. You've just learned how to draw and color manga hair. To help you practice what we covered in the video, I have put together a free bonus pack. You will get a Layered Clip Studio Paint file to explore and edit, and a printable PDF summary of all the key steps and tips. Use them to follow along, study the process, or experiment with your own hairstyles. Also, keep in mind that this is the way I do it, so feel free to experiment, learn, and add your personal touch. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching.